All right, so here's part two. I know that no matter how bad it gets for me, I got nothing left to lose. You guys already took everything. So like, there's nothing, there's the problem with the way you guys are doing things is that there's no upside, right? Isn't that supposed to be what capitalism is about, the upside, right? And that's what I was telling people about, right? And it was like Papa Robert said, it was like the fucking brass ring. You know, you reach for it your entire life, and just when you think, you know, it's in your hand, it ends up getting taken away from you. And so, hold on a second. So that's how that goes. That was my experience too. Anytime I ever got too comfortable or anything like that, some bad shit always happened. So that was my reason for, going the route I did, was that fucking, I needed stability, the stability that I rarely had. Like when my dad was alive, yeah, because he always busted his ass and he always was able to find work. And before the recession, I was too. So this is all new to me here. And don't tell me that it's fucking communism, that you guys are fucking showing me communism, because, well, where's the Communist Party? I mean, who you know what I mean? Like, I've already addressed that. You know what I mean? It's starving, it's poverty. Well, no, because you guys made it out to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. It's the essentials are like a joint stock company. In other words, just like a corporation, but it's owned by its employees. That's it. Just think about an employee-owned corporation. There's lots of them here in the United States, and that would basically be American-style communism, just right there. That's it. So, especially, for you older folks, that's what I want you to understand, is that if you're still sitting there like, fuck this guy, he deserves it and all that, okay, that's really what I had in mind. And I've said it before. It could be anything from a co-op to an employee stock plan or something like that. It doesn't matter, as long as it's not a few people making money off of the work of a large group of people who can barely afford to get by. That's the problem right there, at least as I see it. And so we're going to see just how sustainable that is. I'm probably not going to be around that long, but you guys are the ones that get to live with that right there, because, just the way that I see things going, I don't know. Is it a function of age? Where you just like, things always seem to get worse? I don't necessarily buy that. At least, it didn't used to be that way, but now, these big fucking corporations have like fucking stockpiles of literally hundreds of billions of dollars in cash. Excuse me. Can't afford to pay pensions anymore? Really? That should be an operating expense right there. The corporation didn't get there overnight, right? It was built off of the labor of people who worked there before. So it's not like it's, it could be just like, if you think about it as like amortizing debt, like that's a debt that you owe to the people that got you there. You know what I mean? That spent their entire productive years getting your corporation or company to where it is. And so, if you want to cite competitiveness and all that, okay, fine, you have a fair argument there to a degree. But like I said, it depends on too much. Like I just reiterate that if the company has like there's companies out there like how much cash is fucking Berkshire Hathaway sitting on, right? I'm not sure what their retirement plan is, but I'm not sure that Warren Buffett is necessarily giving away full pensions anymore. I doubt it, but who knows? I could be wrong. And that was just the one off the top of my head. You know what I mean? Like Apple and all these other companies, they've got piles of cash, either here in their banks in the United States or overseas, but they still can't afford to pay pensions anymore. So that when you retire, you're not having to be in this situation right here where you can't find a job and nobody will hire you, except you're old. You know what I mean? That's like reverse mortgages. Just those to me, I never sold one. They were starting to be a big thing when I was still doing mortgages, and I just did not like the concept of that. I mean, because like, what are you going to leave to your kids, right? That was the whole point. At least I thought of like working your ass off your entire life to have a family, raise them in the house and all that, so that you could also leave something for them. But now you leave it all to the bank. You know what I mean? Because you couldn't afford to scrape by in your older years. Or not even scrape by, I'm sorry, you shouldn't have to. You couldn't afford to retire in your older years, because now instead of a defined benefit plan where you get, X amount of money a month, you get a lump sum and you got to make that last longer than you do. So that was the change that was brought about by ERISA and all that. Robert Kiyosaki talks about that if you want to check that out in more detail. But that's the whole point that I'm getting at. Like, I didn't just up and embrace this ideology just because I thought it was a thing to do, because it's going to make me a lot of friends here in America, right? Yeah. Excuse me. No, it's because I see the current system as not being sustainable. It's not sustainable. And I don't know, I have an eye for these things, these sort of vulnerabilities. And here's the thing, I would love to be proven wrong. If you prove me wrong, I swear to God, I will renounce socialism. I will be a fucking, red-blooded capitalist and all that, as long as you make sure that the workers are getting taken care of. Like, that's the main important thing, because otherwise, look, what used to happen was that Malthus, he was predicting that people would die of starvation because farming wasn't productive enough. In other words, the population was growing exponentially, that is like a J curve, like a hockey stick, whereas farming production could increase only linearly, right, like a straight line. So you got the J curve, and then you got a straight line, and that's a huge gap. And where I have noticed that has happened, if you'll take a look at that, it was a chart that I cited online on Instagram. It's where that has happened is the difference between productivity and wages. So that's actually where Bernie comes in that, he's going to make sure that the system works for all. Now, it's the biggest problem that we have, as far as I see it, is just getting rid of that we can't do it mentality, or it's already been tried, and no. It's apples to oranges, because the situation that was before, like, first off, you're thinking of Soviet-style communism. No, chuck that. That's out the window. What I'm saying is that it's not like it was before, where they would pay you, you know what I mean? Where you could get paid to afford the cost of living and all that. That doesn't happen anymore. And not only that, now you're getting into retirement where you can't work anymore, or really, honestly, where you shouldn't work anymore unless you want to. Like, if you've spent your life working your ass off, raising your kids, taking care of your house, just being a good, productive citizen and all that, when do you find time to relax and just kind of enjoy life away from the rat race, right? And I'm not going to get to do that. Some of my friends, realistically, or former friends, I should say, are probably going to be working till the day they get put in a pine box. And so I'm kind of like at loggerheads with the millennials, because, like, I mean, they kind of have the right idea that they're fucked, but as far as like going about it in a way to fix it productively and constructively, that leaves a lot to be desired, and that's all right. That's all right. I mean, they're young, right? Well, millennials are now like 30-somethings, but they're not getting any younger. But they're still fairly young enough to where they can make it change. And what Generation Z is the one that's like, wow, like, what are you guys going to do? You know what I mean? And so that's kind of the question right there. That's the $64,000 question. is where do you guys see society in, say, 10 or 20 years from now, after I'm long dead? I'm dead and buried. I don't know. God knows what's going to happen to me, but I'm gone. I'm out of the picture. And good riddance, right? So where do you guys see society going 10 or 20 years from now if things keep going the way they are? Right? I mean, the rich, they used to say, oh, you know, it's just populism and all that shit. I mean, like left-wing populism and all. Well, I mean, not really. Like, you know, we have the figures now to show that we were actually right. Like, real wages haven't really improved, depending on which class you are. Like, if you're at the top, yeah, you've been doing great since Reagan and supply side, you know, economics and all that. If you were in the middle class, you were kind of doing okay, but you kind of plateaued. And the people at the bottom are actually doing worse. So now we can prove that with the figures, just based on real wages. Excuse me. And so, where do you guys see this all going? After I'm long gone, I'm long dead and everything, where is this going to go? And not only that, who's going to be there to fix it? Right? Like, you guys killed the messenger here, so, I mean, sorry for the inconvenient truth. I mean, maybe I could have gone about it a little more productively, but it's like, how do you find a nice way to say, holy shit, your fucking house is on fire? You know what I mean? Like, dude, trust me. Like, I'm an arsonist. Like, that's, you know, more or less. I mean, when I was working in lending, that's kind of just how I saw how debt works, and just how, not only how it works, but how deeply people get into debt just to finance their lifestyles that they're living today. So you're getting into debt up to the gills just so that you can impress people who aren't even going to be there to help you pay it off when you're old, and you know what I mean? Like, you're going to roll that credit card debt into your mortgage and think that you're a financial genius because now you're paying $200 a month less or something like that, right? And that was my job to kind of explain that to you. And yeah, it was true. It was true. However, what I told them was just like, look, just pretend you don't see that $200 a month and just throw it all towards the principal as much as you possibly can. Just out of sight, out of mind. But let's also be real. How many people actually, you know, did that in practice? Like, how many of you, if you had $200 extra in your pocket, would just turn around and just, it's called deleveraging, right? You know, wealthy people would know about this. And this is what I'm trying to bring to you guys. You know, I don't just deal with billionaires. It's just like they're the ones that give me less flack because I seem to know what the fuck I'm talking about. So it's called deleveraging, right? Because say, you know, you're getting like 2% on your I don't know, whatever investment you have. You have bonds at 2% and all that shit. You know, a couple $1,000s there, or, you know, your 401k is appreciating at 7%, you know, just on average. But you're paying 18% fucking at least APR on credit cards that you keep running up and running up and running up. Or you put them into your mortgage that you're paying, you know, maybe now 3.5% on, or whatever the case might be, but you're paying it off over 30 years. So that's, you know what I mean? It's a long-term game. It's a big picture thing that I'm trying to articulate to you guys. And so, yeah, I've been made the enemy because of that. And I mean, again, it's just shooting the messenger. Shooting the messenger isn't going to change the truth of the message. I just want to let you know that. So that's kind of why, like, I don't feel bad. You know what I mean? I did what I don't know if it was my mission or what. Like, somebody had to point this out to you guys. I just, you know, I don't know. I can't regret. Well, it's unfortunate, I would say, that it had to be a deplorable person such as myself to, you know, where it's real easy to hate them, you know what I mean? Because they might have been born with the deck stacked against them, and, you know, but whatever. There's no use crying over spilled milk, right? So it is what it is. I'm gonna keep on grinding. Maybe not today, because like I said, I'm thinking of just getting the hell out of here and just trying my luck elsewhere. Maybe someplace where they don't hate me as much. But who knows? Maybe a small town mentality or something. I don't know. Maybe a town with Latinos, but fucking they hate me too. Everybody hates me. I'm like fucking, I'm Hitler or public enemy number one or whatever the case might be. And I mean, I am who I am. Like I know that I'm a shitty person, and that's why I keep myself to myself. Like, I don't want my shittiness to rub off on you, you know what I mean? And I also don't want you to be I don't want you to be ill-judged by your association with me. You know what I mean? Like, but anyway, I'm rambling. I hate to be what do you call it, egocentric about it, but I mean, at the same time, when nobody will mess with you, you know what I mean, everybody's just like, it is what it is, you know what I mean. I'm the only one I have, so, and it's just when I don't know that what I have to offer is worth it, you know what I mean, like in terms of person-wise, like an actual person, you know what I mean? Like, that's another thing too. I'm over it because I know that once I die, you guys are going to be like, well, all right, life goes on, and yeah, that's going to happen with you too. So it's just you're probably going to suffer a lot more because you're not used to it.